Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. This is True Crime in the Morning, episode 52. We are going to take another look at Asia Degree, case of missing 9-year-old Asia Degree from Shelby, North Carolina. She went missing Valentine's Day in 2000. Now, I don't know if this is breaking news, but there's definitely a lot of activity with her case. There's a new search going on not too far away from where she went missing. There was a green car reported early on in the case, and looks like they recovered a similar looking, older, rusted green vehicle. So I guess you can definitely consider that breaking news. There's been a lot of rumors that remains were found on both pieces of property that were searched. That's not true. Also, some more rumors directed at the owner of the property. But I think now that I did a little more digging, I'm going to go ahead and clear this all up for you guys. So welcome in to Kiwi, Copper Horse, Caricature. Yeah, I did hear that. What a mess. Good to see you, Shane. Shadowbox, welcome in. Yeah, so far it doesn't look like anything's been found just yet. But from what I'm hearing from attorneys who are making statements, somebody that recently passed away is mentioned in the affidavit. It's not the property owner and it's not their direct family. So what that means is it may be somebody's son or somebody's husband who's married into the family. I'm pretty sure I have the name of this person, but according to the family attorney, once the probable cause affidavit is unsealed, we can expect to find somebody relating to that family who has passed away mentioned. Good to see you, Anna. Good. Yeah, we did part 1, and also we did a members only on Asia. And I think we'll go over the basics before we get into the updates. That way we can kind of give you guys an idea of a case overview and what's going on with the case so you're not lost. I was a little late because I was putting this map together. I think this will help. Visuals seem to help me, so maybe they'll help you guys too. So this will be kind of a map and somewhat of a timeline. So this red arrow would be Asia's home. Remember, this was February 14th of 2000. Asia was 9 years old. She's been missing for 24 years, 7 months, and 2 days. She would have been only 4'6" at the time. So Asia left her home at some point between 2:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. You know, why would a 9-year-old girl be leaving that early in the morning on Valentine's Day? No signs of trauma at home. They looked pretty closely at the father at the beginning. I think some still suspect him, but I think he's been cleared. I don't know about cleared, but he's not considered a suspect. So yeah, that's why it's important, caricature. We're going to give you a quick overview. Good morning, Jerry. True crime and other stuff. Welcome in. Good to see everybody. Copper Horse. Yeah, that's one of the leading theories. Young girl hit on a dark road, in the middle of the morning, the early morning hours. Person panics. But that's not what I'm seeing here. There's a lot of weird pieces of information connected to this, and we'll get into all of that. I believe this is a catfishing without the internet. All done by, I'm thinking, letters. Welcome in, Ziggy. Jabot. Miranda, welcome in. Hey, Cold Truth. Good to see you. Good morning to you all. I think I got everybody. Okay. So some point between 2:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. Asia's leaving her home, and I think it's definitely closer to 3:30 a.m. Now down the road, not very far, she's going to pass Moles Memorial Baptist Church. And then right here at Debbie Turner's Upholstery, maybe a mile down the street, half mile, 3/4 of a mile. Jeff Rupie is one of the eyewitnesses who claimed to have seen Asia heading south on Highway 18 at 3:45. So if she left at about 3:30, it would make more sense that she was right in this area at 3:45. 15-20 minute walk. Now, what's strange about the area that this gentleman found witnessed her is some of her belongings were also found here at the Debbie Turner Upholstery. So I was always very suspicious of this witness here, getting kind of those Richard Allen vibes. Now, I believe Jeff Rupie is a trucker, and he said he spun around 3 different times. I don't know how you're going to do that in this area. He was in an 18-wheeler, and he did 2 U-turns, 3 actually. It'd be 1, 2. Oh no, it'd be 1, 2, and then 3. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So I think he must have made 2. Just kind of 1 full circle. And according to him, after he turned back around, he kind of pulled up next to Asia and she would not look up at him. And then eventually she kind of veered off into the woods. Witness claimed it was pretty foggy too. So I don't know. That's a little suspicious, right? Just kind of the strange story of him whipping around in that 18-wheeler like it's some small vehicle. I mean, where is he doing this at? Maybe just pulling into one of these driveways and backing out? I don't understand that. So right in this area, there's also going to be what is referred to as Debbie Turner's Upholstery. Now, I'm not exactly sure when. I don't know if it was the following morning, or I know it was not far from the actual date that she went missing. The owner of the upholstery shop found Asia's Mickey Mouse hair bow, a 1996 Atlanta Olympics pencil, and marker, in addition to some cellophane candy wrappers, and most strange of all, a photograph of an unknown little girl. So, this is what brings me to the catfishing theory. And I know this is far fetched, but I feel like whatever inspired Asia to leave may have been like a fake friend, kind of like a modern version of Keegan Kline's Emily Ann. But instead of doing it online, you're somehow passing letters or leaving letters for somebody. So maybe she thought her new best friend was, had convinced her to leave that day, or we'll run away together. My parents are mean too. Or who knows what could have been promised. Okay, now a second sighting took place at some point between 4:15 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. This would be roughly half a mile south of the Turner property. So why are these items being found in this shed here? I believe it'd be back here in this corner. Did she, and it may have been raining. I can't remember. I think it may have been storming a little bit. So did she seek shelter here? And then kind of when the rain died down, she went walking? Or do you believe she was brought here? A lot of people are trying to connect their suspect with this location, but I feel like she could have gone there on her own as well, right? I hope so too, true crime and other stuff. I'm just glad that they're looking. Thank you, Copper. There's an elaborate and detailed obituary and news articles for RLD supposedly passed. Yeah, I think that's false. I shared that one in my Discord, but I think earlier today I read that that was possibly a fake obituary. And the attorneys, we're going to look at some local media reports that they put out on their local television stations, and they talk about him as if he's still living. And I did read a report stating that he was alive. So, but yeah, I saw that too. I even shared it. But there's a person that's connected to him that died earlier this year. So I don't know if you're trying to connect the whole deathbed confessions rumor that's kind of been circulating as well. But I think it would be tied to this other gentleman, and we'll get into him in just a few. So there's a big question there. Why the hell would they find, looks like school supplies, some candy wrappers, and a photograph that is not Asia amongst all of that stuff? To me, the evidence, and knowing that there was a storm going on at this moment, tells me that she was just kind of hanging out in there, but that she knew where she was going. I'm not quite sure. That according to some of the witnesses, they said it appeared as if she knew where she was going. She was walking with purpose. Yeah, dad is covered. Hey, what's up, Christine? Don't believe the parents are suspects. They lived in the same apartment for like 20 years or something. Yeah, I think they were looked at heavily at the beginning, and that's always the case. When you're the last person to see somebody, and they always check out the family first, but he's never been listed as a suspect. Seems to be consistent with that age, huh? Where you feel like you're ready to do you're ready for an adventure, but you're not smart enough to know the dangers. Like you just have your confidence up, but your ignorance is way down. Or your ignorance is way up as well, depending on how you look at it. Well, the only issue with the whole green car thing is that wasn't even provided until like 2016. So that's not like it's one of those foggy witness accounts. For some reason they wanted to keep it quiet, and I don't know why. Don't know why they were trying to hide that green car. Okay, so very strange. They found those items along with this photograph, which is not of Asia. To me, this is kind of what gave birth to the catfish theory on maybe leaves a letter where only Asia will find it. Then eventually she leaves a letter and they're writing back and forth. I mean, what else is going on here? I mean, what are the odds that some creep or some deranged parent who maybe lost a child or searching for a specific type of child just happens to find one that night at 4 a.m.? That's not likely, right? Just the fact that she feels motivated to leave in the middle of the night, and she waited until her father, he was asleep on the couch, and she waited. Like, she stayed up until he came in and checked on her, and then she's like, "Okay, that's what he does. Now he's really going to bed. Now I'm out of here." Like, she was planning this out. She was highly motivated. She had this strange photograph in her possession. So, I don't know. That's my leading theory, is that she was lured out, and she thought it was, by a new friend that she made. Welcome in, Miranda. And it says it seems odd that a trucker driving a truck would turn around and go back. It's reported that that driver was a substitute teacher at a school as well as a deputy sheriff. I didn't know that. Hey, rowing. Both witnesses along Highway 18 have interesting stories, to say the least. They both have bogus sounding aspects to their story. See, the official line is that Asia left her home at some point between 2:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. before walking southbound along Highway 18. Here, I'll leave that visual up for you guys. It seems though Asia continued south along the highway for 0.7 miles before she was eventually spotted by an eyewitness named Jeff Rupi. And that's right here in this highlighted area. Jeff Rupi is one of the eyewitnesses who claimed to have seen Asia heading south on Highway 18 at 3:45 a.m. on February 14th, 2000, Rupee, working as a truck driver for Sound Drop Bottling Company, stated that he found the sighting so odd that he performed 3 U-turns in his 12-wheeler truck to confirm what he was seeing. After he passes her for the third time, he resumes his route and notes that Asia veered off the highway into the fog and darkness. Here's an exact quote. I seen a little girl walking down the road with her book bag, Rupee said Wednesday. He now believes she was 9-year-old Asia Degree, who vanished from her Shelby home that morning. She had on a little dress and white tennis shoes, and her hair was in pigtails. Rupee grew concerned. I went back, but she never did look up at me, Rupee said. She looked like she knew where she was going. She was walking at a pretty good pace. So where was she going? So if they were heading north, they would be going in towards her home while she's walking at a fast pace in the opposite direction. And the strange thing about this sighting, with the trucker doing 3 U-turns apparently, that's where they found her belongings. Some of her school supplies and that strange photograph. Back here, I believe right here in this area. So strange eyewitness account, strange going ons in this area. But she could have she could have left from here, back onto the street, and then been spotted. Because I think she ran into these trees here. So it could have been just shortly after she decided to take a break, maybe here. It's not very far from her home. Okay, so that strange encounter happens here with the trucker. And a quarter mile down the street, she is spotted again. Now let's go into more detail on that second sighting. Second possible sighting occurred further south of this location near the intersection of Highway 18 and Highway 180. Trucker Roy Blanton Sr. and his son Roy Jr. were driving northbound on Highway 18 when they saw a small figure in light colored clothing walking in the opposite direction. Okay, here it is. Just a few days after Asia's disappearance, the owner of an upholstery business reported some strange items. So this was a few days after. Reported some strange items in one of her outbuildings. They included Asia's Mickey Mouse hair bow, 1996 Atlanta Olympics pencil and marker, in addition to some cellophane candy wrappers and that strange photograph. So what do you think? She would have been sitting like on the back of this tractor, away from the water, away from the rain. That's why you have the candy wrappers. You know, she spent a little bit of time here. Kind of reminds you of like people at a stakeout. They end up with like a pile of cigarettes. Tells me she was just kind of trying to buy her time there. What's up, Charlotte? Yeah, I wonder if it happened before or after. Was she sheltering and then was seen, or was she seen and then went and hid? Because it's my understanding she went the other way, but I could be wrong. Said veered off the road into some trees. Maybe I'm just assuming it was on this side. That's the only side makes sense, like all these trees right here. If she veered off the other direction, it would be into these homes. This is really the only wooded area right here. Otherwise, you have a home, home, and then homes. I don't know if he would have referred to it as homes or into the trees, into the forest. Okay, now May 25th, 2016, new details have been released by the FBI in the disappearance of Cleveland County girl Asia Degree. The 9-year-old may have gotten into a dark green vehicle on the morning of her disappearance. Someone matching Asia's description was seen getting into a car on Highway 18 around the area where she was last seen. So, this is the vehicle that was reported. Something similar to these. Early 1970s Lincoln Mark 5 and a Ford Thunderbird. Kind of look like hot rods. That was reported in the same area right here, in between this upholstery shop. So, in between these two witness accounts, 16 years later, somebody comes forward. Well, at least the FBI finally, I don't know when this witness came forward, but it was released in 2016. Why? Now, that kind of reminds you of the new direction presser in the Delphi case. Oh, by the way, we have a car too. Like, why would you keep that information hidden? And how much weight do we give it considering it's been provided 16 years after Asia went missing? Okay. Now, here's the most recent update. This happened last week, just up the street, really. They searched multiple properties. Now, the owner of this property here, and here, these properties belong to the same person. Now, it's reported an older model green car with rust. So I'm seeing some rust over here on this side. But it doesn't really match. But I can see somebody trying to, recount something. That's just kind of how the brain works. So it could be the car, even though it doesn't look exactly like it. Late at night, you really weren't supposed to remember it. It was just an afterthought. And years later, you stumble across Asia's case, and you're like, "Well, shit, I was out there that night. I did see a little girl get into a green car." Then in your mind, it's something more similar to this, but in actuality, it could have been that. All right, so let's go to some of these more recent reports here. Trying to see which one I want to start with here.
Community back in the headlines.
A massive search of a Cleveland
Can you guys hear
County
this?
property enters day 2, and we are live over that scene right now with Chopper 9 Sky Zoom. You can see law enforcement standing in what looks like a field next to a wood line, next to a blue tent that they put up in just the last hour.
Now, after hours of unanswered questions, new video ties this back to the 9-year-old's disappearance from 24 years
What's up,
ago.
Hiawatha?
Thank you for joining us. I'm Hannah Getz.
I'm Scott Wickersham. Thanks for being with us. In the past 2 hours, investigators say they towed away a green car. You see a picture right there. That car, very similar in color and age as the pictures of cars on the right here that the FBI said Asha may have gotten into based on witness accounts. Now, for 24 years, a family, a community, and police have been wondering. Many people have been pleading about what happened to 9-year-old Asha Degree. Well, now they could be a step closer with what happened today.
We have team coverage for you. Let's start with Channel 9's Ken Lemon. Ken, you've been on top of this case for 24 years, and this is the biggest development you've seen in decades.
Yeah, it could very well be that biggest that we've seen in at least 10 years. Now, again, investigators haven't given specifics about why they're here, and they're just wrapping up here behind me at this home. But the last time I saw so many officers, searchers here from different agencies was during a search for Asha Degree. Now, you have the FBI, the SBI, and the Sheriff's Department all working on this scene here. Now, the group said that constantly worked to solve Asha Degree's disappearance. Several people actually came here hoping to hear that there's new information in this case that has touched so many, like a barber that I met earlier today who says that he knows the family, and he told me that he hopes the search ends with a positive resolution in this case. This is an individual who told me, like so many individuals who have come by here, there's a large group.
What's up, Julia? Thanks for the email. I'm going to take a look at it here in just a little bit.
They've been sitting just across the street from everything here. They know that investigators haven't given specifics about why they're here. They know they're here serving warrants, but these individuals say they want a resolution in a case here that has touched so many of them. Live in Shelby, I'm Ken Lemon, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Ken, thank you. I want to bring in now Dave Faraday. Dave, you were there as police towed that car away. Pretty similar looking, at least in color and age, to the pictures the FBI sent out.
Yeah, Scott, definitely the color. That towing operation happened at a second search scene about a quarter mile off in this direction. This after authorities have been out at this home for the last 2 days conducting a search. The FBI is confirming tonight that both of these searches are linked all day long. We have seen folks driving by this residence right here, trying to find out more about the huge police presence out here. Take a look at some of this video that we shot earlier. We are here early this morning when between 50 and 60 FBI, SBI, and sheriff deputies searched the property. They took rakes, probing devices, and ground-penetrating radar, along with specially trained dogs, to search the property. Some of that we could see from Chopper 9 Sky Zoom, including an area behind a home on the property that was searched. After lunch, we spotted about a dozen officers move about a quarter mile down the street to a second property. Well, shortly before 5, they removed an older green-colored car. The color is similar to the color that the car that law enforcement put out photos of in the Asha Degree case.
Same guy owns all that property.
Some family members have been out here as well throughout the day, hoping for answers in that case.
It would be good if we can get some closure on the situation. And, you know, for all these people to be out here, I can't say if it is or if it ain't true, but I've never seen this many FBI agents and SBI agents and the sheriffs.
And over the last hour, we reached out to the FBI to find out if that green-colored car is connected to the Asha Degree case. We have not gotten a response so far. Our team will be out here throughout the evening as this develops, the search continues, and we will stay out here as long as law enforcement is out here. Reporting live from Cleveland County, I'm Dave Faraday, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Dave, we've been following this from the beginning, but in the last 2 hours, so many new details developing. Thank you. Now let's go back to the start of this case 24 years ago. This is video from the first search for Asha. At the time, police believed she was abducted and combed the ground and the sky with no named suspect. Since then, law enforcement has gotten tips.
February 14th, year was 2000.
Walk you through that timeline.
Valentine's Day.
It was Valentine's Day in 2000 when 9-year-old Asha Degree was last seen walking away from her home in Shelby. Aisha's family last saw her asleep in her bed around 2:30 a.m. An hour and a half later, she was seen by drivers walking along NC Highway 18. Her parents reported her missing at 6:30 in the morning. More than a year later, on August 3rd, 2001, Aisha's backpack was found in the woods along Highway 18, 30 miles away. Inside the backpack was a book checked out from Aisha's school library and a t-shirt that did not belong to her. In 2015, 15 years after her disappearance, the FBI, state investigators, and the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office re-examined the case. The investigation turned up a possible lead. Aisha may have been seen getting into a dark green 1970s model Lincoln Continental Mark IV or
Yeah,
Ford
Shane. Or
Thunderbird
groomed.
with rust around the wheel wells. The FBI publicly announced the potential lead in 2016
What's up, Phil?
and released images of the vehicle models.
Over the years, we have talked with Aisha's family, her brother, her father, and her mother. They've always said they will never stop.
It was a
looking for
basketball
her.
game,
And in
Anna.
2019, her mother sat down with Channel 9's Ken Lemon, saying that the lack of answers, just knowing what happened, has been agonizing.
What has this 18 years of waiting been like for you?
It's worse than death, because at death you got closure. So we can't give up. Until we have closure, we cannot give up.
And just like Aisha's family, law enforcement, many say they still remember the day she vanished like it was yesterday. Alan Norman, now the Cleveland County Sheriff, was a fresh-faced officer ranking as a shift commander back then in 2020, the year that marked the 20th anniversary.
It's a good thought,
Aisha's
Anna.
disappearance. He said he hopes he can give her family some answers.
She went missing under my watch, and it's my responsibility to bring her home.
There's still
Yeah, that kind of goes to the pen pal catfishing theory. You know, maybe this person started leaving maybe letters in a clubhouse or a place that they knew Asia only hung out at. So they would leave her a letter, and the letter would ask her to write back or leave their, to leave a letter as well. And then they started communicating that way. And maybe eventually the person that was writing her left a book, was trying to give her gifts, or trying to, hey, check this out, maybe even leaving it there with the letter.
a $45,000 reward for information about Aisha. This poster includes an age progression picture of Aisha, who would now be 34 years old. Anyone with information regarding Aisha's whereabouts should call 704-484-4788. Again, that number, 704-484-4788.
Of course, as we're here on the air, this story is still very active. That scene out there covered with law enforcement.
Yeah, this is a live look again at that scene from Chopper 9 Sky Zoom, where you can again see law enforcement by that wooded area surrounding that blue tent that they just put up within
Yeah,
the
he's still
last
alive.
hour.
Somebody created a hoax.
Here is what we know tonight. Police again have towed this green car that looks very similar to pictures of the vehicles the FBI said that they believed Aisha may have been gotten into, according to witness reports. Of course, we continue to ask our sources at the FBI and the Sheriff's Office about what's happening out there at that search, what's going on under that blue tent right now, and again, whether specifically it is connected to Aisha Degree's disappearance.
Yeah,
Our
we're going to
coverage
listen to that
continues
right now.
online, and we have the latest information coming in, plus the time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and listen to that part.
Shelby for nearly 4 days. Many of you have been asking, and today investigators confirmed to WBTV the search is in fact connected to the case of missing girl Aisha Degree. Then hours later, the attorney for the property owner at the center of the search denies knowing anything about the girl's disappearance. You may remember Aisha was 9 years old.
Let's go here. Analyst that says contentious subject, screenshot, elaborate obituary. Yeah, I have that obituary, but there's reports that it was false, that somebody faked it. I shared it in my Discord, but now I'm hearing that that's one of the rumors that's being spread.
When she disappeared Valentine's Day in the year 2000. She was last seen walking along Highway 18 in Shelby. We've been bringing you her story ever since. Now, more than 2 decades later, police never gave up on the search. And as this investigation unfolded this week, Asha's family tells us they hope to get some closure after 24 years of not knowing what happened. Today, the Cleveland County Sheriff says no human remains were found at either of the homes that were searched on Cherryville Road. We spoke with Asha's uncle, who says he knew the man who lived in the house at the center of this week's search.
I would be shocked because I know that old man for a long time. It would be shocking to know somebody stay next door to you for 24 years and then tell the truth. If it was an accident, it was an accident. Why you didn't tell
Yes,
me that
Mustang.
then?
Still missing.
Again, we got confirmation that this week's investigation is tied to Asha's disappearance. That came down this morning. Hours later, we're hearing from the attorney who represents the landowner after agents have been crawling around the property all week. Attorney David Teddy said tonight he thinks the search warrant, once it's unsealed, will link a person who is no longer alive to the circumstances of Degree's disappearance. Teddy confirmed the property owner, Roy Dedman, has been questioned by the FBI, but told investigators he knows nothing about what happened to Asha Degree. Teddy says the rumors about his client have to stop.
I'm disturbed as a lawyer and as a citizen of this community about the information that has been spread out there. And I'm concerned not only for my client, Roy Dedman, and for his family,
motivated, Jody.
but most importantly, I'm concerned for the Degree family.
Teddy reiterated that what the Cleveland County Sheriff said earlier today, which is that no body was found on the Cherryville Road property. We'll keep asking for details on that search warrant, which as of tonight remains sealed. However, the sheriff did say multiple items of interest were taken to be analyzed this week. WBTV crews caught investigators pulling this 60s or 70s era green vehicle yesterday. While it's unclear why, back in 2016, the FBI said they were looking for a 1970s era green Ford Thunderbird or a Lincoln Mark IV. The vehicle is not an exact match, but does resemble the car they were looking for. Now, this is just the latest in what appears to be a series of puzzle pieces in this ongoing saga. We'll be staying on top of this case.
So I don't know if that was the right interview. I know I have another one. Hold on.
In the reignited search for Asha Degree. An attorney says the owner of this Shelby property is innocent and not involved after investigators searched the land for clues. Channel 9's Glenn Counts was there today as the attorney tried to...
I'm pretty sure that's where they pulled the green car from, right there. I think it was parked right here, right there. You see this little area right here? I think they yanked it out of the mud right here. Yeah, here, see the satellite photo? So yeah, they yanked it out from right there.
Was there today as the attorney tried to quiet rumors and gave us new information.
Well, it goes without saying that the Asha Degree case has been the talk of the town these past couple of days, but attorneys representing the man whose property was searched say that talk has gone too far.
The people that have made statements that they claim to be factual are in fact false.
David Teddy represents 80-year-old Roy Dedman, who lives along this stretch of Cherryville Road. Teddy told us that Dedman consented to be interviewed by law enforcement.
And he told law enforcement that he had no information
So he's alive.
about what happened to Asha. He wasn't withholding any information about what happened to Asha. And I am aware that just about every family member of Roy Dedman has been.
I agree, Jody.
One of the rumors floating around is that Asha Degree's body was found on the property, along with several others.
There's been no body found at 621 Cherryville Road, let alone 7 bodies. Some people are putting out there on social media that a number of bodies have been removed from Cherryville Road. That's
Yeah, we're going to hear that right now,
We
Alan.
asked Teddy why investigators searched his
Right
client's
here.
property, and he declined to answer because the warrant is sealed. But he did say there is a mystery man linked to the case who is now deceased who may know what happened to Asha.
A mystery man who is now deceased who may know what happened to Asha, who is mentioned in the probable cause affidavit. So let's go take a look here. I think I know who this person is. Okay, I think his name is Nick Elliott. Let me put this up on the screen. And I don't know for sure. This is just what I'm picking up. Because this is a guy who was connected to one of our conspiracy theories. So, I mean, that's still what it is as of right now. I'm not here to accuse a dead man. But what I'm hearing is that this person lived at that property, Nick Elliott, and he is the one that passed away this year, Sunday, April 21st of 2024, in Greenville, South Carolina. He served as a minister in the South Carolina Conference for many years until his retirement in 2010 as executive director for 10 years of the Southeast Jurisdiction United Methodist Volunteers in Mission in Atlanta. So I believe that's the man who will be named in the probable cause affidavit. There were some rumors going around that on his deathbed, he may have made some confessions. And here are some articles that I picked up. A lot of this is speculation, I can tell. Now, the property owner's name is Roy Lee Dedman. So I think this is where the rumors are coming from. In this article, it says he may be facing murder charges after human remains were found at property listed to him. So that's not true. So there was a lot of that kind of shit going on. But all the properties that were searched do belong to Roy Lee Dedman. And we can kind of learn a little bit about him here. Roy Lee Dedman, headmaster of 12 Oaks Academy, a small private segregationist school. So basically that's code word for all white. So there could be, if he's tied to this in any way, which that's not what we're trying to say. I don't know, maybe there's a racial aspect to it. Segregationist school in Shelby, North Carolina, passed away. See, it states here he passed away recently, leaving behind a complex and controversial legacy. Dedman was at the helm of 12 Oaks, a school founded in opposition to the integration mandates of public school. So this is where everything kind of gets confusing. All these articles state that he is dead. So this part is very foggy. But here's an article written, unless there's two different Leroy Dedmans in Shelby, but I doubt it. Also, there was a controversy about animal abuse going on. With Roy Lee Dedman, which was pretty rough. Basically starved a horse to death. They dropped the charges if he agreed to give custody over. The horse is now doing fine. So yeah, this is the part that's really foggy. But I'm still pretty sure that this Nick Elliott character will be the person named in the probable cause affidavit. There's been rumors about that guy from the beginning, but we're not going to focus in on that. I just wanted to make sure we dropped all the new information.
24 years since 9-year-old Asha Degree disappeared from her home in Shelby, North Carolina. The Cleveland County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and the SBI have a team dedicated to finding out exactly what happened after she disappeared on February 14th, 2000. Detective Tim Adams leads the investigation.
So it's not a cold case, and we're not going to let it go. This is something that we really feel like that can be solved, and we're determined to solve it.
Sheriff Alan Norman was a lieutenant when Asha vanished. The search for Asha is a priority to him.
No one's forgotten about Asha. Not myself, not the sheriff's office, not the community.
A billboard with her photo and an age-progressed image sits alongside Highway 18 where Asha was last seen. Where was Asha going? The child didn't have a cell phone and there were no surveillance cameras. But investigators do have valuable evidence, and advancements in technology are promising to the case.
We actually have things that aid us now that we didn't have 24 months ago, much less 24 years ago. But I can tell you that there's been so many cases, not only here, but across the nation, that have actually recently, within the past days to a couple years, that have actually been solved due to new technology that's out.
And I truly feel like that progress is being made, and I have high hopes that it's going to be solved, and we're going to have some answers for the family.
Over the years, the public has sent in more than 700 tips. We are confident someone hasn't told investigators everything they know.
And we're asking you to come forward, because eventually we're going to find you and we're going to bring you to justice.
We will never stop looking for Asha. If you have information, call the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office at 704-484-4822. The FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi. 24 years.
Okay, let's get into the backpack a little bit, because that's going to tie in another location.
Help find my child.
And we're looking for a missing person. Her name's Asha Degree.
Investigators, finally satisfied with the family's response, shifted their focus to tip calls. There were plenty of them, but nothing was panning out.
Their first solid clue came a year and a half later, 2 counties and almost 20 miles away. A straight shot of Highway 18, just south of Morganton.
A man clearing brush found Asha's book bag just off the highway.
There'd be some hope there that we found a piece of something anyway, because we didn't have nothing. They didn't have nothing. And so once they found the book bag, they're like, well, maybe we're getting closer there.
We actually got to see the photographs of everything that was in the book bag, and everything that we reported missing was there.
Particularly looking for something like this in a ditch or on the side of the road or something.
Investigators hope to find evidence that Asha was abducted in this area, and that they may even find her body here. These were all trained searchers, combing through thick vegetation. Some had search dogs. They even dug up a few spots. Every development, a new reason for hope, then always anguish.
Just you know, bunch of emotions, you know, or whatever. You don't know for sure, and they could have been, you know, could have took the book back up there to throw the detectives, the police, and everybody off, you know.
There were more tips and more searches, but nothing substantial. Each dead end took a toll on Asha's family.
Every time.
Thank you for that, Pinky. It looks like just about 2 hours ago, the affidavit was released. So let me read this article. This is by Nick Oshner and Jason Puckett from WTV Channel 3 in Charlotte. The search warrants executed by the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office, FBI, and North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation in connection with this case of Asha Degree were made public on Monday. So I'm going to get my hands on those. If you guys have that, send that to me at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. According to an affidavit filed with the search warrants, investigators believe Degree is the victim of a homicide with her body concealed. Investigators executed a total of 8 search warrants. Cleveland County Sheriff Alan Norman confirmed on Friday that the search was related to Degree. Affidavits filed with the warrants outlined DNA evidence that led them to zero in on the 8 locations, all of which are tied to Roy Dedman and Connie Dedman, who are referred to as suspects throughout the warrants. Holy sheesh. So they are suspects. According to the affidavit, investigators used DNA evidence from a hair found on a shirt that belonged to Degree, which was found in a trash bag along with other items in Burke County in 2001. The DNA was traced to one of the Dedman's daughters, who was 13 at the time Degree disappeared. DNA matching a second person who has ties to the Dedman family, and I think that's who the person that I named earlier, was also located in the evidence, according to the affidavit. Investigators said that in the warrants, they believe Roy and Connie Dedman assisted with the concealment of the crime. Yikes. Norman issued a new statement Monday morning after the warrants were made public. I know our community is anxious to learn about every aspect of our ongoing investigation. While we appreciate your support, I urge you to put yourself in the place of Asia's family, who for 24 years have entrusted law enforcement to do everything possible to find her. Wow. So they're listed as suspects in the case. Yeah, Mustang, a preacher. And I think his name is Nick Elliott. But it appears that this Roy character is alive, so I don't know if he's the same segregationist that's being reported as passing away. Sounds like a hoax, maybe? So on August 3rd, 2001, construction worker Terry Fleming unearthed the black and beige backpack. Here, let me put those photos up. So they found a nightgown that did not belong to Asia. And I'll show that to you now. New Kids on the Block. And you could purchase this anywhere at the time. Like Kmart, places like that. And then also a book titled McElligot's Pool by Dr. Seuss, which also did not belong to her. Inside it was Asia's name and her family's home phone number. Other contents of the bag were not released until much later, and Fleming told reporters that authorities had asked him not to disclose any other details about what he had found. That must be the hair and stuff that was inside. A nearby resident, however, told the local Shelby Star newspaper that the backpack had been found wrapped in a plastic bag. In an October 2010 profile, Good Morning America reportedly said that it had been wrapped in trash bags. Investigators confirmed that the backpack belonged to Asia, but have not addressed the reported plastic wrapping. Authorities later determined that Asia had packed ahead of time, taking with her blue jeans bearing a red stripe, a white long-sleeved shirt, and a black pair of overalls. After the backpack was found, Cleveland County Sheriff Dan Crawford said it no longer appeared that Asia was just a runaway. Was thrown out by a moving car, he told the Star. It's highly likely now that this has involved foul play. The backpack was sent to the FBI for further testing. So that's some pretty good evidence. So they are listing those folks as suspects. That's interesting. I wonder if that is the green car. I mean, what kind of car is that? So it's very strange that she was spotted right here at this intersection where you can continue down Falston Road or take the 180. And this is where apparently she was seen getting into that green vehicle. And if you go down the 180, that's what leads you right over here to the Deadman property. So they were based, law enforcement, they base camped over here. It's like a strawberry farm. And this is the entire area that they were searching. There's multiple homes right here that belong to the Deadman family. So it sounds like they're close. I mean, they got some solid evidence. It's going to be hard to bring a case against a dead man, though. But I'm pretty sure the name that I mentioned is who you guys will be hearing about. Thank you, Copper. Yeah, shout out to everybody who's been donating to the Cash App. You guys rock. I appreciate that. You know who you are. Okay, here's another article on the warrants. Let me see if there's more information. 17 months after Asia was reported missing, investigators found 2 sealed black plastic garbage bags along Highway 18. This is all new. Garbage bags along Highway 18 near Morganton. Inside those bags were Asia's book bag and clothing, investigators said. According to the search warrant affidavit, 2 items gave investigators evidentiary results with DNA samples that were narrowed down to 2 people. The warrant affidavit says 1 sample belonged to a man who died in 2004. That man reportedly lived at a property owned by Roy and Connie. Okay, so that can't be the gentleman that I named. Hold on. When did he pass away? Yeah, so that's not going to be this Nick Elliott character. Got to narrow it down to 2004. Yeah, Nick Elliott passed away in 2024. So the person that's named in the affidavit died in 2004. We're going to have to find out who that is. Actually, it probably wouldn't be very hard to find out. Let me try something. Well, let me finish reading this, and then during the chat, I'll look. The Deadman had 3 daughters who were all teenagers at the time of Asia's disappearance. The DNA sample matched one of the daughters who was 13. Investigators said that based on evidence and the fact that no communications have been made from Asia since her disappearance, they believe Asia is a victim of homicide with her body concealed. The warrant describes Roy and Connie Deadman as suspects and says that investigators believe their help would have been necessary in the execution and concealment of the crime. The warrant references the ages of the Deadman's daughters at the time of Asia's disappearance. An attorney for Roy Deadman, David Teddy, told reporters on Friday that his client didn't have anything to do with Asia's disappearance. But he alluded to the search warrant possibly revealing circumstances of Asia Degree's disappearance. Who is David Teddy? He must be the attorney. Yeah, it'd probably be impossible to get a comment from that dude. I don't know. That's pretty big. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about all this information. I think we covered everything. So whoever this person was passed away in 2004. That's not going to be hard to find, I don't think. Yeah, people are creeps. They probably did that knowing that people would kind of grab onto it. Or it could be somebody else. It could be the same name, same city, and everything. There may be two separate Roy Deadmans. Yeah, there could be two separate people. One who just passed away, because there's a guy who is a segregationist, and he's the one that passed away. Unless he's the same one, and it's an elaborate hoax. But I'm not going to spend too much time on that because I'm just not clear on it right now. But I'm going to look something up for you guys just to check. 601 Cherryville Road, Shelby, North Carolina. No, they didn't. They didn't just drop the charges. I have two articles, but we're not going to spend too much time on them. He neglected those horses, and the only reason they dropped the charges is because he was willing to give up the horse. They gave him the option: you can give us the horse, and we'll give it to somebody who can help the horse. You have to spend some time on that, trying to figure that out. Copper says justice for Asia. Looks like we're getting close. What's up, Pinky? Do you think the book bag was meant to be found? I don't. I don't think it was meant to be found. Yeah, sometimes it's your intuition. Rowing. You know, you just get this feeling in your gut. Like something's just not quite right. And when they found it, it was right around her birthday. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of superstitious like that. Yeah, that's breaking news. That the property that they were searching on last week, the affidavit has now just been released and states that the property owners are listed as suspects. And their attorney is stating that a dead man will most likely be what has tied them to the case. That person died in 2004, so we need to identify who that is and his relationship to the property owners, the Deadmans. Hair belonging to the Deadman's 13-year-old daughter was found in Asia's shirt. Yep, and another individual as well. Russell Underhill. Yeah, that name pulled up an article here. These locations are owned and lived in by members of the Deadman family. The search warrants were requested after DNA samples linked Degree with the woman Anna Lee Deadman Ramirez and a man named Russell Underhill. Yeah, that's the name right there. Russell Underhill is the name in the documents. That's RussellUnderhill. So that might be her killer. So need to find Russell Underhill's connection to the upholstery shop and the location where the backpack was discovered. Okay, it states here, Degree's backpack was discovered more than 30 miles from where she was last reportedly seen about 17 months after she went missing. The girl's belongings were wrapped in 2 sealed black plastic garbage bags and were found along Highway 18 near Morgantown. Court documents read Monday, which is today. 2 of the items in the backpack reportedly returned evidentiary results linking DNA to Deadman Ramirez, which is now the adult daughter, and this Underhill character, Russell Underhill. Deadman Ramirez was 13 years old at the time Degree went missing. According to the documents, a DNA sample of hair stem taken from Degree's undershirt appeared to match Deadman Ramirez's DNA. There were 2 other Deadman sisters who were ages 15 and 16 years old in February of 2000. Investigators now believe Degree is a victim of homicide with her body being concealed. Authorities wrote in the search warrant application, because of the Deadman sisters' ages at the time, investigators believe adult assistance from their father, Roy Deadman, and their mother, Connie Deadman, would have been necessary in the execution and concealment of the crime. Well, here they're kind of pointing at a mean teen theory. I don't know if they're trying to blame the children, but you would think that this person, Russell Underhill, if he was in communication or in the same room or living with these other people, it'd be easy for him to take their hair and bring it into the crime scene. Kind of reminds me of the Rex Heuermann case, how they caught him didn't they find his wife's hair? She's not listed as a suspect. But here in the affidavit, they're making it seem as if these teenage girls did something. So maybe they were the ones catfishing Asia. Not quite sure. That changes everything. I'm going to get my hands on this affidavit and I'm going to keep you guys updated. Roy Dedman's home was first searched by a drone in February. Another of the searched properties included an assisted living home known as the Northbrook Rest Home, located in Vale. The assisted living facility is owned by Roy and Connie Dedman. Russell Underhill, the man whose DNA may be a match with DNA found on Degree's belongings, lived in at least 2 facilities operated by Roy and Connie Dedman at the time Degree disappeared. He resided at the Northbrook Rest Home between 2002 and 2004. Underhill died in 2004. It was not entirely clear how Underhill was related to or connected with the Dedmans. Underhill knew and associated with Roy Dedman, investigators found. Roy Dedman was listed as Underhill's emergency contact, according to medical records. Dedman Ramirez's home in Charlotte was also searched, documents showed. They're very interested in the daughter. There are reportedly 29 vehicles registered in Dedman's name. 3 green vehicles and 1 red truck were seen at his property in Shelby. At least one of those older green vehicles was seized from the property last week. The vehicle resembled a car wanted in connection with Degree's disappearance. Authorities believe Degree got into a 1970s-era green vehicle on the night she went missing. In 2016, the FBI said they were looking for a 1970s-era green Ford Thunderbird or Lincoln Mark V. The vehicle taken last week from the Cleveland County property was identified as an AMC Rambler. So that answers that question. AMC Rambler. Authorities also took a variety of computers, laptops, cell phones, and records from Roy Dedman's home. There was also a human tooth in a plastic bag that was retrieved according to the search warrant documents. Holy sheesh. Roy Dedman also had a DNA sample taken from him during that time. Connie Dedman, Roy's wife, does not currently live at the home on Cherryville Road, officials said. Authorities also searched her home and removed 2 computers, flash and hard drives, a tablet, and various CDs and SD cards. From Dedman Ramirez's home, authorities only reported seizing a BlackBerry cell phone. No human remains were found at any of the properties. The relevance to Highway 18. 2 witnesses saw Asia Degree walking along Highway 18 on the night she went missing. Roy Dedman's home on Shelbyville Road is fewer than 4 miles and about 6 minutes away from where Degree was last seen by a witness. That's what I showed you guys on the map. Degree's backpack, which contained some clothing and a book, was also found along Highway 18. Several miles away near Morgantown, which is in Burke County, the backpack was also about 7.2 miles away from the Broughton Hospital, also in Morgantown. According to the released search warrants, investigators found that Roy Dedman used to send one of his daughters to transport patients in an unreliable vehicle to and from Broughton Hospital in Morgantown around the time Degree disappeared. Highway 18 is the most logical route to travel to and from Northbrook Rest Home and or Brighton Hospital, investigators say. Interesting. Roy Dedman reportedly sent his daughter, who was 16, 17 years old at the time, and not Dedman Ramirez. Roy Dedman denies any connection with Degree. The attorney for Roy Dedman held a press conference last week amid news of the search at Dedman's home. The attorney confirmed that the property searched that week by the FBI local authorities belonged to Roy Dedman, who is reportedly in his 80s, so he's still living. However, the attorney said that Roy Dedman denies any involvement in or knowledge of Degree's disappearance. Search warrant documents did say that Roy Dedman did not appear to have any ties with Degree or her family. Roy Dedman's attorneys asked the community not to jump to any conclusions. All right, I think that's everything. There's the guy's name, Russell Underhill. and one of the daughters of Deadman. I guess they really don't. They have to follow the evidence. They don't know who the suspects are, right? It could be this group of girls. It could be this group of girls with this older man, or it could be this older man who just happens to have, transferring the young girl's hair over to the victim. Yep, I agree with that. Rowing. This will be our 5-minute warning. So if you guys want to add anything to the chat, now's the time. I don't know. It sounds like this could belong to maybe, I don't know, the young girl. I wonder if that was her nightgown and her book bag. I don't know. It's a very strange case. Anna says one DNA sample traced back to a man living with the family. Yes, Russell Underhill, who passed away in 2004. Was double bagged. Bomber Cat, welcome in. Well, they tried to hide it. And I heard the kids, like the young kids, were driving it. I don't know. Maybe they were driving it that night too. Maybe they catfished this poor girl. Maybe it is a mean teen type of situation. They're going to find out. I think they're close. Yeah, Nick Elliott's name was brought up in a conspiracy, but it looks like I had him confused with this Russell Underhill person. So we're going to scratch Nick out of there. Yep, Russell Underhill is the name. He had Roy Deadman listed as his emergency contact, but they're not quite sure exactly yet what the connection is, other than living on his properties. So that's kind of weird right there. Yeah, it might not be related, or the witness may have been not able to recall correctly. Misremembering. Yeah, this reminds me of the Johnny Gosh case a lot. But now with this new information, I don't know. It sounds like she may not have survived this ordeal, unfortunately. Yep, that is the name, Jody. He's listed. Yeah, I'm going to try to shoot Teddy an email. I don't expect him to respond, but never know. Yep, Russell Underhill. He's been long gone. We're going to be looking into him. Yeah, Roy is alive and well, according to that report. I think we either have a hoax being perpetrated upon the public or just some confusion. There may be two Roys, one passing away and one living. Or a fake obituary. That does happen. People do that, specifically in the true crime community. They like to create fake information and then sit back and watch people like me cover it. So that's why we have to do our due diligence, and that's why I didn't spend a whole lot of time on that, just because there's a lot of confusion surrounding it. But we've gotten to the fact that Russell Underhill is the person that was deceased in 2004 and is directly tied through DNA evidence to the backpack that was found of Asia. And they are very interested in the other piece of DNA evidence, which was a piece of hair tied to Dedman's daughter. But we all know from the Rex Heuermann case that could be transferred over. But if anybody was going to be able to access Asia, it's going to be these younger kids, right? That are running around. They know Asia. Hey, here's, passing along a letter to you. Catfishing her, in the old-fashioned way. So. Yeah, they found her bag about 25 to 30 miles away down the 180 at a construction site. Maybe. Good to see you, Shane. Let me know when you get your merch. It's in the mail. Yep, Russell Underhill. All right, guys, that's going to do it. If you need to add any information, please do so in the comment section. And if you guys will probably be doing a part 3 on this very soon. It looks like they got a lot to go through, and we know that takes weeks. So maybe within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be hearing maybe some more updates, something that they found in all the computers and all of that stuff. Maybe there's a communication where they were talking about concealing the crime or some type of trophy. They found a tooth, so we'll keep you guys updated on that. But if you need to get me any information or you just need to get a hold of me, message me at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. I want to welcome in GP. Good to see you. Sorry, I couldn't get to everybody's comments. I'll go down here to the bottom and maybe we'll take 1 or 2 more. Jody says, I just want to know why she left her bag packed, doors locked during storms at 3 a.m. when she was scared of storms. Yeah, she's definitely, it appears that she was motivated. That's what kind of leads me to this whole catfishing thing. Like somebody was grooming her or somebody was lying to her. She was very motivated. She even waited for her father to go to sleep. Like he passed out on the couch and she knew if she would leave while he was passed out, he would wake up and see that she was gone. But instead, she waited for him to wake up while he was on the couch at about 2:30ish. Go check on her. And then he went to his actual room. That's when she knew that she could leave. So not only was she patient, she locked the door. She didn't want to leave the door opened. She locked the door behind her. Packed her bag, had some stuff that didn't even belong to her, some candies, a strange photograph, a book, and a nightgown. So it does appear that she was lured out. Now, if she was lured out by these young girls who made a promise to her, or they were playing a trick on her, I'm just not sure exactly what happened. Thank you, Copper. Thank you to all my mods, all my members, and everybody who is new to my channel. Welcome in. Please don't hesitate to email me about the case, about any other cases that you would like me to bring up on the channel. We plan to stay busy here. So until next time, guys, I will see you again. So take care.